Exactly. Good morning, everybody. Salam alaikum. Art, especially the visual arts, but culture in general, is necessary to the development of a country. On the other hand, it can be a little uncomfortable, especially for businesses and for the government and policymakers. But it's very important to consider it kind of a research and development laboratory, also for politics and economics. Very often we hear, I'm a design expert, very often we hear about design thinking. But in a way, design thinking is already mediated by a business school lingo, very important, but still it's not the real thing, just like the scientific method is not science. So I urge everybody, especially the policymakers that really have the destinies of countries in their hands, to get exposed to raw, unadulterated art and design. And I would like to show you just a little bit of what design can do when it is combined with other disciplines. Of course, we know about design working with developing countries and trying to find solutions to big problems like drinkable water or the availability of light in areas that are not networked by power. And of course, we know about many efforts that are being made by designers all over the world to address social problems like obesity or the aging population, so finding real solutions to real problems in everyday life. But designers also contribute to visions about the future of science and the future of the development of humankind. About 2 years ago at the Museum of Modern Art, we organized an exhibition called Design and the Elastic Mind. I'm showing you some quick images of it. That was about the coming together of design and science. It was designers working with scientists, Nobel Prizes, chemists, nuclear physicians and physicists and nanophysicists to imagine the future of the world. These are some general images of the exhibition. You see that there's an aesthetic component to it, but the vision is what matters the most. It's the imagining in real terms what the future can be like for the world. And designers are actually working on such innovations as working with nanoscientists, as imagining what the impact of nanotechnology can be, both in terms of vision and science fiction, the idea that nanotechnology could actually worsen a division between classes by enabling the upper classes to come up with new cosmetic rights, and instead the lower classes finding a way to transform their bodies into factories of spare parts for the rich. So it's about working with real physicists to see what the implications can be. And you see here some of the examples of the work in the show. Of course, growing cilia on the nails, but also real work by biologists, like a new way to have protein markers that have not only fluorescent dyes, but also letters of the alphabet. So, and other examples by nanophysicists that were in the show about them collaborating with designers. Interestingly, the nanoscale brings together scientists and designers for the first time, and scientists have discovered the pleasures of design and have given in to an aesthetics urge that they didn't have before. I don't know if you know, but scientists tend to always choose the worst background when they do PowerPoints, the worst typefaces, somehow, because they're afraid of not being taken seriously. Somehow, at the nanoscale, they start indulging and making things that look also pretty. When I told them pretty once, they were almost scared, but that's the truth. Nanotechnology and the nanoscale is the scale of true design also for scientists. Other examples are designers working with biologists to deal with the design of tissues. You might know that for the first time in Australia about 6 years ago, some scientists were able to develop meat in vitro. It's quite disgusting. I tried it, it's pretty horrible. But when you can actually develop meat without killing any cows, without touching any animals, number one, will vegetarians eat it? Is it a moral issue or is it a taste issue? And secondly, what should a steak look like when it can have any form? These might be idle questions to some, but they are really fundamental when you think of our future. And also, nature and organic design for centuries, and we can go through Leonardo da Vinci and Averroes and so many different scientists, we've been trying to crack the secrets of nature. Nature builds in the best, most sensible, most elegant, and most economic way. How do we get closer to it? Well, the computer, the most inorganic form of all, has actually brought us closer. And architects and designers are trying to really understand the algorithms of nature so as to be able to imitate it not only in form, not only in structure, but truly in the most systemic level, DNA level. So these are all advances that science and design are bringing together, new diagnostic methods for different diseases using bees, using the oldest ways, the oldest means at our disposal. Bees can be trained to detect from the breath both different stages of pregnancy and also certain tumors, like dogs also can. So designers and scientists together can work on this, can also find new ways to build. I'm sure you know about 3D printing, which is a way to send computer files directly to a machine that solidifies objects as we, pretty much like old science fiction movies from the 70s where you would see a hamburger being materialized in a microwave oven. So to make a long story short, because I want to leave room also for the debate, designers and scientists working together without any mediation are creating a future. And of course, visualization design, rendering all the data, is one of the most important areas for design in the future. The more computing power advances, the more we have an enormous amount of data that we need to make sense of. And designers help us understand everything from the editing process of Wikipedia entries. You see that beautiful Missoni-like tapestry. That is the rendering of wars between editors on Wikipedia pages. In this particular case, it's chocolate, the page of chocolate. And also trying to visualize how computer thinks. You see that a chess match with a computer. And also visualizing many different matters like the distribution of prison inmates in areas of the United States like Brooklyn, you see here, or the distribution of the world population migrating. This is a view from a beautiful exhibition 2 years ago at the Fondation Cartier in Paris that was all about people migrating all over the world. So design really is a force for the future, and so are the arts. The 900 number in the United States, I'm sure there are similar numbers all over the world, where you call and you pay automatically for a service, was actually invented by an artist, by John Giorno in the 1960s in the United States, when he did a performance called Dial a Poem at the Museum of Modern Art. This is just to say that artists, designers, the creative people in general are great resources for businesses and governments without any need to call them creative capital or creative industries. They are who they are, and they are worthy to have at the table because they might help everybody think in a way that was unthought of before. Thank you very much.
Thank you.